by a train. So we don't know right now the pedestrian's condition, but Metro says the train is still stopped, but they opened other inbound and outbound tracks to keep those other trains moving.
A young mother was shot and killed on the south side this week, her baby in the back seat. Tonight, police are still looking for the people responsible. And Casey Kronos is live downtown. And Casey, you just found out there are now 2 rewards for this very case.
Hi, Brett and Leslie. That's right. Cook County Crime Stoppers is offering $10,000 to bring those responsible to justice. And earlier today, Father Michael Flager of St. Sabina Church said he will match that. Cook County Crime Stoppers has identified the victim in this shooting as 26-year-old Gabrielle Ayers. She was shot multiple times near 79th and May this week before crashing into another car. The man who was with her was injured in the shooting, but her 14-month-old daughter in the back seat was unharmed. This afternoon, a vigil was held at the very same intersection alongside a Chicago Police Department roll call. Mayor Brandon Johnson was in attendance along with local and state leaders who are calling for the violence to stop.
It's tragedies like this that remind us of how much more work that we have to do. This is not a season to gloat, but it's also not a season to be in despair. We're going to find and bring justice to not just this family, but families across this city who have been struck by violence. We're going to hold those individuals responsible, but that doesn't just mean locking them up. It means making sure that we don't create other individuals that believe the only way in which they can survive in this city is through violence and crime.
Faith leaders and city officials calling it a miracle that her baby survived. If you have any information about this case, you are asked to report it right away. We have an anonymous tip line on your screen. Reporting live downtown, Casey Kronos, Fox Chicago.
Yeah, hopefully somebody comes forward. Casey, thank you for that. The woman who was lit on fire on the CTA Blue Line is now out of the hospital. We're talking about Bethany McGee, who released a statement thanking the medical staff who work in the burn unit of Stroger Hospital. So she said in part, yesterday marked an important step in my recovery. My family and I are grateful to be able to celebrate this milestone, and we want to sincerely thank everyone who has offered support, guidance, and encouragement during this time. And while she recovers and is asking everyone for privacy, the man accused of lighting her on fire is in jail, where he is waiting to go on trial. We're talking about Lawrence Reed, who is now facing federal terrorism charges. And if he's convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison.
All right, we've got warm days ahead as we take a live look outside. Mark Strell has a first check of your forecast. Hey.
Yeah, warm days indeed. We're going up into the 40s Monday and Tuesday. And even beyond that, over the next 2 weeks, you can see the chart. It's got red painted all over the place, which is a nice little February thaw for us. It means temperatures likely to be in the 50s by the end of the 10-day forecast. Look at this. We're showing temperatures next week up into the 50s. We've got temperatures Monday and Tuesday into the 40s, and we're talking about low and mid 40s. 30s right through midweek, and then a little 40 as we head into next weekend. Now, that all being said, we still have a chilly night tonight. We're down into the single digits tonight, about 10 degrees here in the city, and tomorrow's going to be cold-ish with temperatures about 7-8 degrees below average. We'll be about 23 degrees tomorrow. Plus, we have some winds tomorrow as well. Well, tonight, it just looks cloudy and gray. We're going to stay cloudy and gray here through the evening hours, but clearing overnight tonight. With the clearing, that's when the temperatures begin to plummet as the skies clear out. At least we're not dealing with much, if any, lake effect snow. You can see a little bit of that over in Michigan and along the Michiana state line. But here in Chicago, we stay dry, at least for the next 24 hours.
And we're still in winter after all. Mark, we'll see in just a little bit. A judge is ordering the federal government to release evidence in the Miramar Martinez shooting.
She was shot 5 times by immigration enforcement agents during an encounter on October 4th in Brighton Park. Evidence includes body camera footage and text messages from the agent who shot her. The judge said Martinez has the right to counterbalance the label of, quote, domestic terrorist put upon her by the Department of Homeland Security.
We're very happy that the judge saw it the way that we see it, that the government can't have it both ways. You can't call a U.S. citizen with no criminal history who's a Montessori school teacher a domestic terrorist, which is such a loaded word in this country. It's sick that these are federal agents. Like, this guy's a federal agent who is sworn to protect all of us. And that's what's going through his mind after he shoots a woman multiple times on Kedzie on a Saturday morning. I mean, that's alarming, and it should be alarming.
Later this month, Martinez is scheduled to attend President Trump's State of the Union to Congress as a guest of Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia. Senator Dick Durbin joined immigrant rights organizations in the city as negotiations continue on funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Funding for DHS is set to end next week unless Democrats and Republicans can reach an agreement. DHS is in charge of ICE and Border Patrol. Democrats like Durbin say DHS shouldn't receive any more funding unless they agree to reforms to prevent the violent confrontations we've seen.
What we are trying to do is to sit down with the Republicans and say, agree on the basics. Hold ICE to the same standards as every professional police department in America, and do it now.
A DHS shutdown would not only impact ICE and Border Patrol, it would also affect TSA and FEMA.
And staying with this very same topic here, students at Plainfield Central High School organized a walkout today protesting ICE operations. Student walkouts have become more common in the wake of the fatal shootings from ICE agents in Minneapolis. So in a letter to parents, Plainfield School District 202 said this demonstration was not a school-sanctioned event, and anyone who participated is at risk of facing consequences for being late or being absent from their classes.
Nearly 6 days after Nancy Guthrie disappeared, there are still no suspects, no person of interest, and no signs of the 84-year-old.
All right, so we just got some new information within the last hour, and joining us now to talk more about the search is Michael Babcock from TMZ. So, Michael, the sheriff's office said they are aware of a new message regarding Nancy Guthrie. So, you have any more information about that?
Yeah, and look, I think the Guthrie family and the law enforcement, that being the Pima County Sheriff, the federal authorities, to include the FBI, are desperate to hear from the people who allegedly have Nancy Guthrie. And yeah, there is a word that there has been some contact that has potentially here been made, which again is what they are desperately hoping for, because the reality is, you go back to the first letter, and I can't speak obviously to what any other news outlets out there received, but I know what we received Tuesday morning around 10:35. I've read it with my own eyes, and the reality is that there were two deadlines in this message, original message, and one of them was Thursday at 5 p.m. Clearly that is now passed, with the second being Monday, and that deadline having a very severe consequence attached to it. And Nancy Guthrie, her brother, her sister, who have now made 2 videos speaking directly at times to the people who may have their mother, have asked, hey, we are ready to talk. We want to communicate. And I think that, again, with this new potential communication here, that could be seen as a positive sign, in that talking is good, because if there's a deal to be made here, let's make a deal.
And Michael, you found out there's a ransom note. Wondering if that gave any insight to where Nancy Guthrie could be?
Yeah, I think it does, because in the note, and I'll be careful in how I talk about it, because obviously we don't want to ruin anything and want to preserve the integrity of this note the best I can. But the note talks about, if the ransom is paid in that Bitcoin, that they would have Nancy returned within a period of time. Obviously, they're not going to be getting on airplanes here. So if you sort of just do a little bit of rough calculation about how far someone could potentially travel in a set period of time, again, they said, pay the money and we'll have her back at this time in Tucson. You can, in a way, do a very rough estimate of the area where she might be being held right now. And I think that's something that law enforcement is looking at. And that is, again, something that was touched on in this letter. You'll pay the money by X time, and we will have her back by Y.
And there's several news outlets in Tucson are reporting the Pima County Sheriff's Department found blood, and the DNA matched Nancy Guthrie.
Which was Nancy's blood, by the way. The DNA had come back on that, which is very scary, obviously, to say the least. Yeah, that's why you have to wonder if she's injured or even if she's alive, because, I mean, you're just thinking the worst at this point. Right. She's already 84 years old and not in the greatest physical health. It requires medication to sustain life. So I think this is a perilous situation, to point out the obvious.
And there's also been questions about cameras. Looks like at least one camera was removed from her house.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing with the cameras is that there was no subscription. So while there was a figure captured and it was alerted and it was registered, the footage was not recording, meaning the authorities can't go to access the cloud and look at that footage, which obviously could have been, such an important part of this investigation, because you might have been able to make out a face how many people were here that night who took her. So it's a blow to the investigation, clearly, that was not recording and just picked up somebody. Obviously, we know somebody was there. We need to know who it was, though.
All right. Thank you, Michael, so much for your time.
And that is so frustrating because Tucson is just so spread out, especially in that area in Tucson where the foothills is located. So we're going to have much more on the search for Nancy Guthrie. So we have a live report coming up in Arizona. We have more on the new message from Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos.
Plus, there's a new Archbishop in New York, and he hails from right here in our area.
And you're seeing more coyotes in Chicago. This is a question to you. Well, they're out here. You're seeing this video here, and they're also downtown.
Fox 32.
New details in the search for Nancy Guthrie. There is allegedly a new message.
So just minutes ago, we spoke with TMZ about this. Let's bring in Sarah Legre, who is live in Tucson right now.
And Sarah, when we spoke with you at 4, you had just received the alert about the message. Have you learned anything since?
Yeah. Leslie, Brett, we're still trying to confirm where exactly that message came from at this point and trying to get a better idea of its content. We know that the FBI, the Sheriff's Department, taking this very seriously. They're working to authenticate that as they're doing currently with the ransom notes that were also sent to media earlier this week as well, with that deadline shared, as Michael just mentioned a little bit earlier. Again, there was that 5 p.m. deadline for yesterday, along with a pending one on Monday. And as TMZ reported, that one much more serious. It didn't include, though, a way for the family to communicate. That's part of the struggle here. But as that deadline hit, that's when we heard from Nancy Guthrie's son, Cameron Guthrie. He made that appeal saying, hey, we want to talk.
We haven't heard anything directly.
We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
The fake ransom messages. We know a man from California. He was arrested just yesterday for sending that fake note. Authorities say, though, at this point, there's no direct link between those text messages that the man was arrested for, along with the ransom note sent to media stations. Another big deal here is the timeline. That's important. And as Michael touched on, that doorbell camera being disconnected early Sunday at 1:47 a.m. That's when we see things start to change here and kind of raise an eyebrow. At 2:12 a.m., that software detected movement, but no video was recorded. This definitely hurts the investigation. But when asked earlier by reporters yesterday if that camera that detected movement was the same as the one that was disconnected, the sheriff said this.
We don't know which camera that was. When we did the software, it just told us that a person was detected, but I'm unaware of which camera that was.
There were multiple cameras and you're not sure?
Sure. There were multiple cameras at the home.
And so we're trying to learn more about what that message entails, hoping for an update from the Sheriff's Department. But they did send us something earlier, around 20 minutes or so ago, regarding the Guthrie neighborhood. We know media has been asked to relocate at this point, but they say it's just because detectives are continuing to conduct follow-up at the home and in the surrounding neighborhoods. So, of course, as we learn more, we're going to bring it to you as we approach day 6, or finish day 6, rather. Still no prime suspect or persons of interest. Brett, Leslie, back to you.
Great. Live with the up-to-the-second information about that. We appreciate it. So President Donald Trump shares and deletes an AI video depicting the Obamas as apes. So this video was posted on Truth Social. It starts with a clip on alleged voting machine irregularities, and around the end, you see a racist cartoon of the Obamas. So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt released a statement saying the clip was part of an internet meme depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King.
It's been 8 months since the U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear sites.
And so now, for the very first time since that happened, the U.S. and Iranian officials are back at the negotiating table.
The White House says to have peace in the Middle East, Iran cannot obtain nuclear power. But according to Iran state media, the regime is refusing to give that up.
I think it was a good start and can continue well, but that depends on the other side.
Before the meeting, the U.S. positioned warships and other military assets off the coast of Iran. The U.S. State Department is warning Americans to, quote, leave Iran now, and to have a plan that does not rely on government help.
Russia is escalating its air attacks on Ukraine, but today, the Ukrainians may have pushed back with an assassination attempt. So Russia claims a high-ranking Russian general was the target. But there's hope in this conflict. Hundreds of prisoners were exchanged between the two countries today. But we still don't have any peace talks. But experts say territorial disagreements and security guarantees were top of mind for negotiators.
Had prisoner exchange many times in the past, and they have not led to a peace agreement.
So the last remaining nuclear treaty between the United States and Russia expired Thursday. President Trump says he plans to replace it with a new one that, as he put it, lasts well into the future.
It's a new era for the New York Archdiocese with a Chicago area connection. Archbishop Ronald Hicks was installed today. He was previously the head of the diocese in Joliet. He grew up in South Holland and spent 20 years as a missionary in Peru. He was chosen by Pope Leo back in December to replace the retiring Cardinal Timothy Dolan. Today he has a special message to everyone back here at home.
To everyone from Chicagoland and from the Diocese of Joliet, I carry you in my heart. Thank you for being disciples who make disciples.
New York is one of the largest archdioceses in the nation, serving roughly 2.5 million Catholics. All right. Let's have a live look outside, and we've got some warm temps ahead very, very soon. Mark?
Yeah, maybe not soon enough for some folks because we still have a chilly night tonight, and it's going to be a cool day tomorrow with temperatures running about 7, 8, 9 degrees below average. In fact, temperatures right now warmer than we will be during the day tomorrow. Right now, we're at 33 degrees at the lakefront, also southwest side. Look at this, 39 coming in at Joliet, 36 degrees in DeKalb, and 41 degrees right now in LaSalle, Peru. So there are some mild temperatures out there. Winds have been pretty blustery. We've seen winds gusting at times up to around 28, 29, 30 miles per hour. Right now, winds gusting 22 miles per hour officially at Midway. Wind chills right now, even with the warmer temperatures, we're still seeing some chills in the low and mid-20s around Chicago, so there's a little bit of an edge with the weather right now. Cloudy skies, it looks gray, it looks cold outside, colder than perhaps it is. Snowfall, here's some of it. And look at the snow that's going to accumulate coming up here over the Appalachians. West Virginia seeing up to a foot of snow in some of the higher elevations. I don't think we really have much of an issue. There could be a little bit of a slight spin-off off the lake. We'll tell you more about that and how the rest of the weekend plays out. All coming straight ahead.
In 2 days, right around this time, the Seattle Seahawks will face the New England Patriots for Super Bowl 60.
And when players take the field Sunday, they'll have their own team of doctors, trainers, and the latest tech to keep them safe.
Amalia Roy is live at Levi Stadium, and Amalia is going to take us behind the scenes and how they make this all happen.
Yes, good evening, Leslie, Brett. I got a tour from the chief medical officer for the NFL who showed us all the eyes that go into these players on game day, looking first at where the spotters will sit above the field, looking down, watching these plays in real time. They're looking for any injuries that are not getting noticed on the field. They'll then alert the medical staff on the ground who can watch everything back and make a decision on what to do.
Anytime a player is getting a concussion evaluation, the team doctor and that unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant will need to review the video before they make their final determination.
Concussions are one of the most common injuries in football. Last season, the NFL recorded 155 in-game concussions, down from 184 the year before. To keep lowering that number, the organization's looking at player data to see where they can make the game safer. The NFL's AI-powered digital athlete uses that information to run simulations on potential changes.
Recently used the digital athlete to inform the dynamic kickoff rules change. We were able to take data from video and from computer vision, as well as injury data from the EMR and player tracking data, to simulate 10,000 seasons of how players participate and look at different ways that we could change the kickoff, which was historically our highest, had our highest concussion rate of any play in the game.
The chief medical officer says, especially with the big game, there are some extra challenges when you have two teams that are likely outside of their usual environments. But the key to all of this is preparation. It means making sure doctors, trainers, specialists, they're talking about what to do in worst case scenarios. They're also rehearsing what they do in those scenarios and making sure that they are leaving as many surprises out as possible. In Santa Clara, California, Amalia Roy, Fox Chicago.
All right, one Seahawks fan is making the trip to Santa Clara in style.
So you probably heard of a hot rod. How about a hawk rod? There's just one, and it belongs to a guy named Tom. He bought an old El Camino from a front yard for about $1,000, and now it's souped up, it's shiny, apparently it's ready to rumble. But, you know, in the back, there's AstroTurf, even has goalposts.
The rule, if you want to take a picture of my hawk rod, you got to be in it. The one thing you got to look out for when you're on a road trip is the crazy drivers. See, it don't take long. You're driving down the road, somebody sees the hawk rod, and toot, toot, off goes their horn.
You will not see this at the Chicago Auto Show. Of course, he's going to the Super Bowl, and he's hoping to arrive in his hawk by sometime tomorrow, midday.
A tiny drawing by Michelangelo was just sold for a whole lot of money. After 45 minutes of bidding at Christie's, New York, the 5-inch drawing of a man's right foot sold for $27.2 million. The sketch is believed to depict that of a male model who posed for Michelangelo as he painted figures on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in the 16th century Rome.
All right, it was this Kiss camera video seen around the world. And now, remember that woman from the Coldplay concert? Well, she's turning that moment into a career opportunity. Kristen Cabot, who was famously caught having an affair with her boss, is now set to be a keynote speaker at a PR crisis communications conference in Washington, D.C. This is coming up in April. So this event apparently is about taking back the narrative about how she's turning this viral moment into a platform for her message. And get this, if you want to go, it's $875 a person.
Oof. Well, you may have heard about lizards in Florida being stunned by the colder temperatures there. Well, one guy decided to get a bit cozy with some of them creating a so-called iguana blanket. You can see most of them are pretty undisturbed there, while others are moving their tails as they start to warm back up. By the way, the man says no iguanas were harmed in the making of this video, but some people have been cooking up the reptiles. They're invasive, and the state actually encourages people to hunt them.
I will take their word for it. I love animals, though. You know, speaking of wild animals, there was another coyote sighting in Chicago.
Yeah, we'll tell you why everyone is seeing more of them all over town.
And the Chicago Auto Show is here this weekend. We're going to take you inside for an early look at what you can expect.
I'm Tina Wynn. Later in sports, the Bulls have overhauled their roster, yet Arturas Karnisovas refuses to call it a rebuild, but their deadline choices are under the spotlight, and the Bears were heavily represented in last night's NFL honors ceremony. Big night there for Joe Thuney, and even DJ Moore made an appearance. All the details later in sports.
Just after 5:30, we are finally back above freezing, but we may not be this lucky throughout the weekend.
All right, first, have you noticed more coyotes out and about in Chicago? They've been spotted all over town, and that includes Montrose Beach.
Yeah, don't pet them. You got to see this video from earlier this week. You could see just one coyote eyeing some off-leash dogs running around Montrose Beach. So the guy who took this video says this happened Wednesday in a protected area of the beach where dogs aren't even allowed. So over the past few weeks, people have been seeing coyotes around Grand Park, Humboldt Park, and along the lakefront. And there's a reason why this is happening, and they're active. They're looking for love. So this happens to be peak breeding season. We spoke with an expert on Chicago Live who told us only the alpha pair in a pack breeds.
Cheat. They do not cheat, which is another reason why they tend to be either defensive or aggressive, depending on your perspective, toward dogs during this time of year, because they're bonded with their mate and they aren't going to tolerate any competitors for that. And sometimes they'll see a dog as a potential competitor for their mate, which is one reason why they're defensive or aggressive, depending on your perspective. So the monogamy was a complete surprise to us, but we've tested that genetically, tested for cheating. And unlike other species, pretty much throughout the natural world, coyotes don't cheat.
Really wasn't expected this to go in the weeds about coyotes and their lifestyle and everything. Yeah, like apparently I didn't know any of this, but here's the deal. If you're worried about your safety, experts say the most important thing is don't feed them. I know sometimes it's intriguing because we don't see coyotes a lot, especially in the city center. But with things just kind of warming up like this, you just have to wonder if coyotes are just going to be very bold, if they're going to be attracted to things like that. But just keep in mind, we are still in winter after all. But we're getting just maybe a little tease of what spring is like, right?
102 counties in Illinois, every single one of them has a lot of yotes.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
I just can't see them.
No, not at all. But the thing is that everything is relative. And just 2 weeks ago, we had below zero temperatures, and now we're just getting a little hint of spring.
It was a couple of years ago. There was one running around in the loop, and he was being chased all over the place. And he went into like a little convenience store, and he just was tired of running. So he got up into like the little refrigerator and just hung out. Yeah, it was a cute little picture, right? 28 degrees at 6 o'clock tonight. As we go overnight tonight, the skies will clear out. Overnight low temperatures eventually down to about 10 degrees here in the city. We do single digits in the suburbs. The jet stream has been pulling down some cooler air last week, certainly, and that'll be the case as we go overnight tonight into the early morning hours. But then we get a little bit more of a flat jet stream, and that when it flattens out in the wintertime, that means temperatures start to rise a little bit. We'll be back into the 40s for Monday and Tuesday. Mid and upper 30s much of next week. And as we look all the way out to the 10-day forecast, I see temperatures in the 50s.
I'm Scott Schneider here at McCormick Place, where the 2026 Auto Show has brought something old, but it's something new. I'm at Chi-Town Alley, and this is one of the entries in their first ever car competition. This is Chicago car culture at its finest. That's Ryder Lamb. He brought this car back to its original luster. We're going to talk with him, so stay tuned for that.
Fox 30.
North America's oldest car show is adding something new this year.
Yeah, Chi-Town Alley celebrating car culture here in Chicago.
Scott Schneider was at McCormick Place today with one of this year's finalists.
All right, here at McCormick Place, and I've forgotten how many years I've been coming down here, but one thing I can tell you for certain, the car show has gotten smaller over the years, and so they've changed things up for 2026. And after years of pursuing the car that's trending, I'm so excited to pursue the car that's timeless. And to that end, I am standing in Chi-Town Alley, and I am surrounded by these 6 finalists in a very unique contest. These cars and the people who have brought them here, who have driven them here, if you will, they're all from Chicagoland. These are car enthusiasts, these are car lovers, these are car builders, and what they have done is they have brought some of Chicago's car culture to the Chicago Auto Show. And I've got one of the finalists with me, and I'm very excited to introduce you to him. He's Ryder Lamb from Lake Forest. Thank you so much for joining us. And tell the folks at home about what is an absolutely beautiful BMW.
Well, this here is my 1974 BMW 2002 Tii.
What's special about this car? This car has history. Some people would argue this car is the precursor to BMW's 3 Series, which everybody knows on sight.
Absolutely. So it was just sort of a small European car. And this car really has a lot of people's attention because this is a Austrian imported car. This is a European spec car, which is a really important detail because these are way smaller than in Europe than they were in the States. But this is just a small European car with a very small engine, but it revs really high. It's a really fun car. And at the time, this was, a car that you could buy instead of a big Oldsmobile or something. It was just much smaller and more fun.
This is something you restored with a little help from your dad, Corby. We're going to meet him in a moment, but let's get a shot inside and let's talk about some of the work that you did, Ryder, in particular with the interior. Talk us through. You worked on the gauges.
Yes.
You worked on the dash. You worked on basically everything we're looking at. This is a 5-speed, right?
Yes. So it is a 5-speed. It is a stick shift, and this is the first car I actually drove stick with. I learned how to drive stick on this car, which is very cool. But the gauges I rebuilt in the late summer because a few of them didn't work, and I was able to make do for a few years, but I decided I kind of want them to work. So I did, and I was just able to read through old books and look on the internet on how to rebuild them.
Let's take a shot of the engine. And again, so many of these vehicles here at the Chicago Auto Show, they're going to have all the high tech. They're going to have the GPS. They're going to have, some of them are going to be self-driving. This is old school. This is a 1974?
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about the work you've done on the engine.
So the engine actually is not the original motor. The original motor is sitting in my garage, and it has mechanical fuel injection. And this, with car guys with a keen eye, would see that this has a carburetor. Now, you might hate me for that one, but this engine works really well.
What should it have?
It should have fuel injection instead of a carburetor. This has a single carburetor, which is a little bit different. Now, the fuel injection, if it doesn't work, that's a lot of money to fix it. So I'm kind of keen on keeping this motor in there. But one day I hope to have the stock engine back in this car.
We've got your dad here, and Corby, this is really something to have him here, to have Ryder, one of the 6 finalists. What went through your mind when you found out that he was going to be here at the Chicago Auto Show competing for the first ever Chi-Town Alley competition?
I mean, for us as his parents, it was just so exciting. We saw all the hard work that Ryder put into the car and also into his video submission that led to him being one of the finalists. So as his parents, we couldn't be more proud of the work he's done on the car and on the content to get here.
And Dad, quickly talk about father, son, working on this car together. What's it meant to you personally?
It's been a world to me. We actually bought this car before he turned 16, and Ryder and I don't have any background in automotive restoration.
You'd never know it.
No. So we learned by the owner's manuals that we had. We learned by watching videos on YouTube, and it really has been the most amazing bonding experience for Ryder and I to be able to have and preserve this car.
Well, again, I want to thank you, Corby, and I'm going to bring Ryder in one more time because this car is going to be on display for the entirety of the Chicago Auto Show, along with the other finalists. And I want to encourage people to come down here because, again, yes, the auto show is shrinking, but But I think what they're doing is really wonderful. They are infusing Chicago car culture into the show. So you can come on down here, you can touch these cars, you can talk to the people who have built these cars. Ryder, no matter what happens, I want to congratulate you on what is a beautiful car.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Back to you in the studio.
I'm Tina Nguyen. Next in sports, a big honor for a Chicago Bear last night. Joe Thuney earned the NFL's very first Protector of the Year award. Hear from him in just a moment. Plus, after coming off their most dominant win against their in-state rival, 5th-ranked Illinois, looking to continue their 12-game win streak in East Lansing. Hear from head coach Brad Underwood next.
I like to think that everything is relative when you see people walking outside with shorts on, but you have to remember where we were right around this time 2 weeks ago.
It was brutal.
There were probably some folks walking around with shorts on 2 weeks ago, because it seems to me some folks that wear shorts in the winter wear them all the time, right? You've seen those folks?
Chicago tough, and they're wearing sandals as well.
Chicago tough, I like that. Well, we can be a little less tough coming up this weekend as temperatures slowly get back to normal by Sunday. And by Monday and Tuesday, well, go ahead with the flip-flops. We're back up into the 40s. Why not? 32 degrees right now, partly cloudy skies, winds out of the north-northeast at 18 miles per hour. Still a wind chill, puts us at 20 degrees right now, the feels-like temperature. Satellite and radar. Not much going on here. A little bit of activity, mostly the other side of the lake today. And we've seen a brief blip or two in the south end of the lake, but nothing of any real significance. Elsewhere around the Midwest and around the Great Lakes, yeah, there's been some more activity, especially off to the eastern Great Lakes. And there's been some pretty heavy snowfall across parts of the central Appalachians, right around the Cumberland Plateau. So West Virginia getting clocked here today with snowfall up to a foot in some of the higher elevations. Temperatures right now 32 along the lakeshore, both airports at 32 degrees. Winds gusty at times up to around 30 miles per hour. In fact, 33 mile per hour wind gusts now in LaSalle, 30 mile per hour wind gusts now in Rensselaer. So be careful if you're on an 80 or going southbound on 65. Temperatures tomorrow, still about 7-8 degrees below average. We hit 23. a little closer to normal. In fact, a degree or two above normal on Sunday with 32. And then check out Monday. I think you're going to like it. In the low 40s, 40s again on Tuesday. In fact, we could even be up closer to 44, 45 degrees. The skies are clearing out as we go through the evening hours. With the clear skies, those temperatures will plummet. We'll be back down single digits in the north and northwest suburbs, and about 10 to 11 degrees downtown here in the city. High pressure kind of shooing some of these clouds around tomorrow. So we'll start out with sunshine in the morning and then end up with those clouds during the afternoon. And I think on Sunday, more clouds around as well, but mainly dry conditions. So we're in pretty good shape there. And then that warm up for Monday, Tuesday, which is nice. Tonight, 10 in the city, a little colder in the suburbs. Winds out of the north, a little blustery, 15 to 20 to 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow, again, lots of sunshine in the morning, but still one more day of chilly conditions, 23. The high temperature tomorrow with breezy conditions. Your 7-day forecast, closer to normal, pretty close to normal on Sunday. Temperatures of 32 degrees. Look at this, 45 on Tuesday. After that, we're back into the 30s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But we're in the good part of the 30s, the mid and upper parts of the 30s. And we're back up to at least 40 degrees as we push into early next week. So Sunday, some clouds around during the afternoon, 32 degrees. Seems like it might be a good time to stay inside and, I don't know, maybe watch some football, Tina.
Speaking of football, Mark, time now for sports. Bears offensive lineman Joe Thuney received some recognition at the NFL Honors last night. Winner of the inaugural Protector of the Year award, the 10-year NFL vet played a critical role on the Bears offensive line. Started all 17 regular season games. He's one of the best pass-blocking guards in the NFL. And in his first season here in Chicago, Thuney was named first-team All-Pro and even earning a Pro Bowl nod.
You know, I'm not a one-man operation. I have a great support system. You know, my family, my parents, my siblings, Marissa, my cousins, my friends are back home. All the former teammates that I've had, O-linemen, the brothers that I have that I've made. You know, I appreciate you. You're a big reason why I play. Thank you to the Bears organization, all the coaches I've had, former line coaches throughout the years, Coach Scar, Coach Heck. And I really appreciate all the former linemen who have played in this league, the unsung heroes of the past who have laid the foundation for us to play today, the game that we know and love. Thank you very much.
Hey, we love seeing the big guys get some credit there. All right, the awards did not stop there. Every Bears fan will remember where they were and who they were with when Caleb Williams right there found DJ Moore for the walk-off TD in OT, defeating the Green Bay Packers 22-16. So good, it was named the NFL's Moment of the Year.
This season was special for the 2025 Bears because RIP Virginia, but we went out there and made some moments this year, and they were special moments, and we can't look forward to causing havoc to the league next year. Thank you, guys.
In other notable winners last night, 37-year-old Matthew Stafford wins his first MVP award by 1 vote. Stafford announcing that, yes, he is coming back next season. Bears head coach Ben Johnson was a finalist for Coach of the Year, but instead it went to Mike Vrabel, who, okay, he's coaching in the Super Bowl this Sunday. But can someone make this make sense to me? Because Ben Johnson only received 1 vote among 50 voters. Come on now. By the way, that 1 voter is from Chicago. Speaking of trying to make sense of things, though, the NBA trade deadline was yesterday. The Bulls were active, making 7 total trades, completely overhauling the roster despite moving on, though, from Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, and Ayo Dosunmu. Arturas Karnisovas not ready to call this a rebuild.
But clearly, the word rebuild is still a touchy subject for him. But let's call it what it is, right? This was a fire sale. This was a pivot away from what they've been the past few years, as you guys have mentioned, as AK talked about. Austin today, they are tired of being in the middle. Did they wait a little too long to realize that or say so? Probably, but this is a firm pivot from what they've been, and they don't want to call it a rebuild, but that's exactly what it is.
All right, so the Bulls may not know what they're doing, but Brad Underwood and the Illini do after a blowout victory over Northwestern on Wednesday. Illinois is riding a 12-game winning streak for the first time in over a decade. The Illini set to be put to the test tomorrow. Tough road matchup against 10th-ranked Michigan State. By the way, watch that game right here on Fox Chicago. Here's Brad Underwood on what separates this team from others in recent years.
I don't want to say we're not the most talented. I think we're very versatile. We've had some good teams. Our team that was a 1 seed with Io and Kofi is was very talented. That team had some things that we couldn't do. This team's much more versatile that way. But I think that the chemistry of this group, the connectivity of this group is as elite as I've been a part of.
All right, plenty more from Brad Underwood on Chicago Sports tonight at 9:30, or you can catch it early at 6 p.m. on the Fox Local app. We're also joined by 104.3 The Score's Matt Spiegel. He gives us his thoughts on the Bulls trade deadline and what moves the Bears can make this offseason. In case you missed it last night at the NFL Honors, the most Chicago thing happened here. Take a listen.
Charles Peanut Tillman.
Atta baby,
right,
Peanut.
There he is, the man.
You're Chicago Holiness. You're forgetting the most important thing this year.
What's that?
We beat the Packers twice.
That's right. We beat the Packers twice. You know it.
Yes, we did.
Hey, everybody. Packers suck. Packers suck.
Okay.
Packers suck.
We have some Packers. I'm sorry,
Everybody.
Jordan Love. I guess just let him have this, all right?
That is the most Chicago thing ever, and I think everyone here in the city appreciates that moment, guys.
Packers. Packers.
Just keep playing it on repeat over and over, because you know what? It's been years that Bears fans have had to deal with a lot of losing.
I know, and it feels now the tide's turning, so beat them not once but twice this season.
This is always a great feeling. All right,
We'll be right back.
So, yeah, it's going to be cold tonight. We're going to be down to about 9-10.
Surprise.
Tomorrow, yeah, it's still chilly. We're in the 20s. But after that, look at that. 40s Monday and Tuesday. And mid and upper 30s after that, so pretty decent.
This is summer in Chicago, right?
Well, February anyway.
Well deserved after the last few weeks.
Tell me about it.
It's going to feel really nice.
Everything is relative here. Of course, we got Chicago sports tonight. You got a big one coming up, Tina?
Yes, full show here. You got to watch.
Woohoo. Keep it right here.
Have a good night.